Vâng.
As far as you know, on the answer in the speaking IELTS test must including qualitative and quantitative characteristics of each answer. So what is the qualitative? It means the examiner want to check your knowledge, and the quantitative, the examiner want to check the range of the answers. But some of the candidates really concerned and don't know how to say when they answer the questions, and they try to look for as many as possible the ideas to present in each of answer. But you should remember that in IELTS speaking test, the examiner really want to know what you say, how you say, not what you say. So before you think of the ideas, make the examiner interested in what you are going to say. For example, I ask you something but you don't really know, you don't have any knowledge about this. So let the examiner, should give the examiner the answer to help them, I don't understand, but you know how to explain it to your examiner to understand whether you don't or not. And there are 4 criteria to give the marks in the IELTS. The first are pronunciation, lexical resources, grammar accuracy, fluency, and coherence. Pronunciation seems to be the very important element in order to help the examiner understand what you say or not. Pronunciation check the way how you say and how to use the linking sound or ending sound. English is different from Vietnamese. In Vietnamese, you don't have any ending sound, but in English, you have to use the ending consonant very clearly. And when you use the ending consonant clearly and exactly, so the linking sound naturally produced. For example, I give one student a question, what's your name? And she told me my name is Mary. The other student, what's your name? And she told me my name's Mary. So of course, I will give the higher mark to the second student because I know in her answer, she knows how to use the linking sound and the ending sound for each of the answers. So pronunciation is very, very important. In order to practice and improve your pronunciation, you should find an opportunity to contact with your foreigner friends coming from English-speaking countries or maybe on the internet to listen to the native speaker talking about. The lexical resource, it can be the very important element too, because as you know, mostly the students just use their own language as a very simple level. They don't know how to use language in the academic way and in the advanced way. So the more you use the language in the advanced level, the higher marks you can get in the IELTS speaking. Also, slang or idiom, if you use as many as possible, so you can get the higher mark. I can say, for example, the first student answered my questions, and when she answered my questions, say, I want to go, and the other say, I wanna go. So the person using I wanna go can get a higher mark than the first one, because wanna is a slang word. And grammar or accuracy, I would like to talk about this, very much, because mostly my students, they not really concerned about grammar and accuracy when they speak. And they seem to think that grammar and accuracy is not important, and they try to improve as much as possible pronunciation and listening and lexical, and they don't care so much grammar. So it can be right. When you speak, if you pay attention to much grammar, it can interrupt your speaking and you never speak fluently. But I can tell you a story that you can know how important the grammar is. 2 years ago, when my American friend and I walked on the streets, we walked together, And there was a girl who really wanted to make friends with my American friend. So she asked me to talk to him. So I left them together and I moved. 15 minutes later, I came back and my American friend told me, "Oh, Miss Jean, I don't understand what she said." I asked him why don't you understand? Because he didn't use any tense in her speaking. So I don't really understand the things happened already or not. So as you know, grammar, especially the simple past and simple present, is really important for the listener to understand the things happened or not. When I look at the person who speak English around 5 minutes, I can realize whether they speak English frequently or not. Because we know that, we have to use the simple past, we have to use simple present, but when we speak, we forget, and we use mostly, present simple. So the examiner, they have to base on the context to understand the thing happened or not. So in daily conversation, we have context, we have situation, but in the examination room, the examiner wants you to do it with the best. So grammar and accuracy, take care as much as you can. Fluency and coherence are one of the best things. You try to think a lot of ideas, you try to figure out the best idea. So when you speak, it interrupts you a lot. And I tell you, I remember in one day when I was in the IELTS examination room, so my friend at that time was the examiner. So when he listened to my student, she spoke English quite well. But when she spoke to him, she made a lot of sound like, I want to go to, at that time, the examiner, my friend, he put his hand behind his back and he tried to count how many times. And I asked him, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm counting how many times he made the sound. So, the examiner, they don't want to do it in front of yourself because it can be the thing makes you not confident, but in their mind, so they know that's not a good thing and you should avoid it. Instead of making interruption, you should keep silent and think or use some coherence, like let me see, let me think, okay, to speak English fluently and answer the question fluently. So for correct reason, for things is a very important element the examiner based on to give you the higher or maybe the lower marks in your test. Depends on the way you answer. And as I told you for the beginning of the presentations, I would like to give you how to understand a little bit clearly about the speaking test. There are 3 parts in the speaking test of both academic and general training tests. In the part 1, the examiner really wants to know a little bit your personal information, give the general introduction about your name, your identification, and your nationality. The question in part 1, including maybe 8 or 10 questions, but the examiner may give you about 3 or 4 questions, depend on the way you answer him, and depend on the quality and quantity of the answers. The question may relating to the hometown, family, job, weather, or maybe a future plan, or something like that, a lot of things. So should be careful when you answer. And remember, on the questions in the examination room, like how you doing, how it's going, can be a question. So as you know, sometimes the examiner, when you are in the examination room, the examiner asks you how you doing, and the student have a look at his eyes. They say fine. So fine, it's okay, it's good. You're fine, but no subjects, no subjects. and not long enough. So it can be, it's very dangerous, can lower your mark. And remember, the answer in the questions of the answer for the question in part 1 must include 30 or 40 words, equivalent with 3 or 4 sentences for each answers. For example, if the examiner asks you, what's your job? And the student say, student, you think it's okay? Or maybe the questions also favorite flowers, rose, what's your job? Okay, my mistake spelling. I'm a student and I have no job. So I would be wondering, the examiner want to listen to you anymore, or he want to stop the conversation? Because here's the thing, it's not only influence the quantity and the quality of the answer, but also influence on the way people look at your behavior when you answer a lot of questions in a very short time. And also, the candidates seem to use a lot of, local voice. So it make the examiner don't really understand what you say. For example, when you answer the questions, can you tell me something about your friend? And candidates answer, oh, my friend's Nhan. I met him at Fantatin High School. So at that time, the examiner very confused because they don't know Nhan and Fantatin is the Vietnamese word or the English word that the candidates can make mistake in pronunciation. So pay attention to, don't use too much the local words or local voice. And whenever you want to say something in the different language from English, take note it and make the examiner that see the Vietnamese language, not English one. And the next part, that's the part 2. So in part 2, you will be given a card.